shall we ask? Aditya, you want to try? Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Okay. We have Krishna. Krishna wants to try Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Okay. Anybody wants to try Vyavasayatmika buddhi?
Mataji, which verse number is it?
241.
Mataji, I can do that one if you want.
Yes, go ahead.
Vyavashatmika buddhir ekaha kuru nandana bhavo sakahya nantascha buddhayo vyavashayinam.
Very good answer. Nice. Okay. So we just remember these verses. We did Karmanyevadikaraste, we did Trigonya Vishaya Veda, and we did Vyavasaya. Okay, so we are pretty much going to use all these verses in today's class.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
Can I do Dehi announcement?
Yes, you can.
Dehi announcement yatadehe kaumaram yomaram jara tatadehantara bhakti dhirasta namoyati.
Very good. Who was this?
Ashutosh.
Ashutosh. Where is your brother?
He's next to me.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Mataji, I just came.
Hare Krishna, Krishna. Would you also like to try a verse?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, can I just do the announcement?
Okay.
The announcement yatadehe kaumaram yomaram jara tatadehantara bhakti dhirasta namoyati.
Very nice, Ashutosh. Very nice, Krishna. Thank you both. Thank you both. Okay. And where is Aditya? Where did Aditya go? Can you hear me, Aditya? Aditya, do you want to try a verse? Radhika Kasturi Mataji, can
Yes.
you're not audible?
Yes, Varun is trying to say, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe next time, Mataji.
Okay. Sure. Okay. And who else? Brinda, you want to try any verse?
Yes, Mataji. Which verse you want to sing? Okay, that one Karmaneva. It's a Thank you. Okay, say more. Thank you.
Thank you, Vrinda. Super, Vrinda. Very good. Okay. So, you know what? We're actually going to discuss the meaning of 2-3 verses in our next few slides. So you have chanted some important verses. We have picked some of them. And we'll be discussing the meaning of that as well as we proceed. Okay, but before that, I want you to recite 246 and do the translation nicely, and then we'll go ahead with the rest of our discussion. Okay, so the verse we have chosen for today is 246. Interestingly, we already did 247, but then we just thought that maybe we missed 246 because 246 is also a very important verse. So we don't want to miss this verse, so we'll be doing this verse as well. Okay, so please repeat after me. Yavanartha udapane sarvata samplutodake yavanartha udapane samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata brahmanasya vijanata. So let's do it together. Okay? Yavanarthavudapani sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata tavanarthavudapani sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata. Excellent, very nice. Okay, so let's take turns. We can start with Anmol.
Okay, Mataji. Yavanartha udapane sarvata sampudodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanyasya vijanata.
Very nice, very nice. Asara.
Yavanartha udapane sarvata samplatodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah.
Very nice, very nice. Krishna Chaitanya.
Yavanartha udapane sarvata sampludodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata.
Very good. Aditya.
Yavanartha udapane sarvata samuplodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata.
Very good, Aditya. Very, very good.
Varun Mataji.
Oh, the name is Varun? Okay.
No, Aditya is my eldest son and Varun is the younger one.
Younger one.
One.
Okay. So there are two kids. One is Varun, one is Aditya. Okay.
Correct.
Very nice, Varun. Aditya? Okay. Aditya is silent today. Okay. And we have Krishna and Ashutosh. Krishna, you can go, and then Ashutosh, you can also go.
Yavanartha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata.
Very good. Very nice, Krishna. Ashutosh.
Yeah. Yavanartha I don't know.
Okay. Yavanartha
Yavanartha udapane sarvata
Samplu Udake
tudake tavan सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्रह्मणस्य विजायते.
Vijanata, very nice, Ashita. Very nice. Okay.
Can I try?
Saivedas, you're here. Very good.
Unmuted.
Who's on? Okay, Saivedas, you can go ahead. Shall I read?
Wait, can I try?
Yes.
Yavana saudapani sarvata samputodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha.
Perfect. Very, very nice. Perfectly said. Very good. Good job. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to learn the translation. Okay, and this translation is very important. So repeat after me. I hope everyone got a chance. Did I miss anyone? Brinda?
Yes. सर्वतः संप्लुतोदके. Repeat it. तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजायते. Thank you, Mataji, for learning.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's go through the translation. Please repeat after me. All purposes served
All purposes served
by a small well
by a small valve
can at once be served
can at once be served
by a great reservoir of water.
by a great reservoir of water.
Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas
All the purposes of the Vedas
can be served
can be served
to one who knows
to one who knows
the purpose behind them.
the purpose behind them.
Very good. So I'm going to read the translation and then you can repeat it all together. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Very good. So what do you understand from this verse? Can anyone say what it means in your own words?
So like just like the things that a small well can do, a great reservoir of water can do like greater. So like all parts of the Vedas can also be served by those like
Someone who knows
the meaning of it.
Vedas can understand better. Someone who knows the purpose can do all the activities that the Vedas say. Because of a small well,
Very nice.
and it can be served by a great reservoir of water.
Mhm. Very good. Very nice answers, all of you. Good. All of you seem to have understood it. Good. So, yeah. So basically, now you see two pictures. One is the picture of a well and another is the picture of a reservoir of water. So what do you get from both these sources? What are you trying to obtain from the well?
Water.
Correct. So basically, what you get from the well, you also get from the reservoir. So both are the same. They're serving the same purpose, right? One is small and one is more accessible to you because it's, this well is close by. It's accessible to you. The other one is a huge reservoir. It's a huge reservoir, and you have to go there and you have to, take your bucket and go and fill up the water and come back. Okay? So, whatever is there in the reservoir is pretty much there in the well. The well, though, appears to be smaller in quantity that you get, it's easily accessible, and whatever is needed is there in the well. Okay, so even if you go to the reservoir, you are going to get 1 or 2 buckets of water. The same thing will be fulfilled if you just go to your backyard and get it from a well. This is what Krishna is trying to tell. Okay, now Krishna is trying to compare this with the knowledge that is there in the Vedas versus the knowledge that you are actually supposed to get from the Vedas, which is the most important. Now we'll see what it is all about. What is this Vedas? What is the purpose behind the Vedas? We'll understand. Okay? So what do you think you remember from the pictures that you see here? So we have covered these concepts in our previous sessions. So if you remember the translations of the previous classes, you should be able to give some hints on these 3 pictures. What are the ideas you're getting from the first picture as you remember from the previous sessions?
You should never be too attached to not be doing your duty.
That was the last picture, right?
You should never go to the fruits of action. You should never take the results of your fruits of action.
Correct. That was the first picture. And the second picture?
Never consider yourself the cause of results.
Say that again.
Never consider yourself the cause of results of your activity.
Yes, that is true. Correct. That is also, around the third picture. And what is the second picture aiming at? What is this boy trying to do? He's trying to pick.
You have a right to do that.
You should pick the best ripe fruit.
Correct. So the third picture was about not getting attached to your duty and being eco-poised and not worrying about the gain or the fruit from what you're doing. The first 2 pictures, they are showing you, one picture is showing the desire. Remember, we saw this when we did the verse Traigunya Vishaya Veda. So we were explaining that the Vedas is like a huge desire tree. Okay, it's giving you many fruits. But then Krishna says, Nishtraigunya Bhava Arjuna, transcend these modes. Right? You remember that? So Krishna was saying, aim for the highest fruit. And then we spoke about the Vedas, saying that the Vedas have so much Puranas and so many things, it has Upanishads, it has the 4 Vedas. We were discussing all that. And then we were talking about the ripened fruit as well. Right? Remember all this? So this is from the word Traigunya Vishaya Veda. And the last picture that all of you said is about, not worrying about the fruit, but rather just doing your yeah. So not getting attached to the result. That is what you were saying. So these 2 things, think about these 2 things. One is about the Vedas, one is the fruit, and the second, while performing any action, we don't get to attach to what we are doing. Okay. Now let's connect that to this verse that we are seeing today. So I'll tell you one small story. There was a boy by the name Shwetaketu. This is a story from the Upanishads. His father's name was Uddalaka. So this Uddalaka, he was a very learned man, very, very learned man, and he sent his son to a Gurukul. So in those days in India, little boys, they would go to Gurukul to go and study under a spiritual master. And they would learn everything that is there in the Vedas, and they would come back after many years. Now it was like a boarding school. Okay, so they would go and they would stay in their guru's house and they would learn everything. And after a few years, they would come back home. So like that, Uddalaka, he sent his son Shwetaketu to go and learn from a spiritual master. So Shwetaketu, he went, he stayed for a few years with his guru, and He learned all the Vedas. He learned everything. He became an expert. He became a very, very big scholar, and he came back to his father. When he came back to his father sensed that the Shvetaketu had learnt a lot. He had become a big scholar. He also was very proud. So the father called Shvetaketu and he asked Shvetaketu, can you tell me if you have understood that by knowing which everything else can be understood? So the question the father is asking is, have you understood that by knowing which everything else in this world can be understood? What do you think the answer is?
By knowing who you are.
Very good. That is a good answer. Anything else?
By knowing you're not the body.
Okay, by knowing who you are, by knowing you're not the body, and by knowing whom? Who else?
Krishna.
Yeah, God, Krishna. Very nice. So, both the answers are correct. By knowing yourself, by knowing Krishna. Okay. When Shvetaketu was asked like this by his father, Shvetaketu didn't understand anything. You are all so smart. All of you could answer. But Shvetaketu didn't even understand what his father was asking. So he was totally blank. Then his father said, you have not learned anything. So you go back and understand what is the purpose of the Vedas. What is the purpose of the Vedas? To know Krishna, to know God. First of all, to understand who you are and then understand who is God and your relationship with God. That is the whole idea of the entire study of the Vedas. So he has gone and he's undergone rigorous training in the Gurukul about all the Vedas, all the mantras, all the mudras, all the rituals. But when his father asked him, knowing that one thing, everything else comes to be known. Just knowing Krishna, everything else you can know. So this was the very intelligent question that his father asked. And when Shvetaketu couldn't answer, he went back to school. Okay, so this is a story from the Upanishads. Now, how many of you know the story of Krishna and the Yagnik Brahmanas? Anyone knows?
I know.
Yes.
Okay, who wants to recite the story?
Mataji, can I recite it?
Yes?
So one day Krishna and his friends and Krishna and Balaram became really hungry. So they told their friends to go and beg food from like the brahmanas who were doing yagna nearby. So Krishna's friends, they go to the brahmanas and they ask them like if they could please give Krishna and Balaram some food because all the gopas were hungry and they wanted something to eat. But the brahmanas, they were very puffed up and they were doing yagna, so they thought themselves better than Krishna and the gopas. And so they just ignored the request and just like continued doing their yagnas and everything. So the gopas went back to Krishna and they told him that the brahmanas were being egoistic and weren't giving him any food. So then Krishna said, go to the wives of the brahmanas because they're very humble and they really love me, so they'll definitely give me food. So they go to the brahmanas, they go to the wives of the brahmanas and they ask some food from them and for Krishna and Balaram. And the brahmanas' wives were so happy, like, because they thought this is our chance to serve Krishna. So they made lots of preparations and went over to feed Krishna and Balaram. And they were very humble and they were very good devotees. And when the brahmanas, they realized that at the end, the brahmanas realized that they were being selfish and egoistic, that that Krishna was the supreme personality of God, and they could have had a chance to serve him, but because of their ego, their wives had more devotion than them.
Excellent. Very, very nice. Very nice. So, very nice. So, everyone understood the story, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Very nicely said, Asra. Very crystal clear. Very nice. So, basically, what you see from the story is that when the Supreme Lord Himself asked for some food, what did the Brahmanas do? They were busy feeding the ghee in the fire, trying to satisfy the Supreme Lord, right? So what is the ultimate purpose of doing all these yajnas? It is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. They were so busy in the ritual. When the Supreme Lord came in front of them and said, give me some food to eat, they were like, you better wait, we are so busy doing this. That's what the Brahmanas did. But the wives, they never went to Gurukul. They never went through all these rigorous rituals. They never went through all this training in the Vedas. But they understood the ultimate purpose of the Vedas. They knew that the ultimate purpose of the Vedas is just to satisfy Krishna. They identified Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He should first be satisfied. So therefore, they took all the food and they went and they fed Krishna. And then the Brahmanas realized how foolish they were and they repented for whatever they did. It was a very instructive story. And yes, they were puffed up. They were very proud. While the wives, they were very humble. They understood, no, this is Krishna. First I must feed him. So that they had the right attitude. They were very humble. They had not gone through all the Vedas, but yet they knew what the Vedas is ultimately trying to be. So you see, that the Brahmanas, they were actually caught in the rituals. They were caught in the process, but they forgot what is the ultimate aim. Okay? What is the purpose of doing all this? That they totally forgot. So in this purport, it's a very beautiful verse, and Srila Prabhupada in the commentary in the purport, he just say, I'm going to read this because it's very important. Okay? He says, Vedanta is the last word in Vedic wisdom. And the author and knower of Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. So basically, you have the Vedas, and the end or the ultimatum of the Vedas is the Vedanta. Who is the knower of the Vedanta? The knower and the compiler of the Vedanta philosophy is Supreme Lord Krishna. And the highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism. The Prabhupada said, the process of understanding who Krishna is not really going through these Vedic scriptures or doing elaborate yajnas or following all the activities prescribed in the Vedas, doing karma rituals, all that. It's there, yes, it will give you benefit. But then the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism is chanting the holy names. By chanting the holy names, one can come to the platform of a pure Vaishnava and one can understand the ultimate goal of the Vedas, which is understanding who? Understanding who? Krishna. Krishna. Good. Who is God? Everyone is clear about that? Very good. Good job. So therefore, you see in this picture, you see Haridas Thakur. Now, you might have all heard of this name, Haridas Thakur. Can anyone tell me in what family he was born?
You spent
Very good. Yes, he was born in a Muslim family. But you know the title he got?
Namacharya.
Yeah, he is Namacharya. It was Namacharya Haridas. So he used to chant so many number of rounds. He was the teacher of how to chant properly. So that was the status that he had, though he was born in a so-called, Yavana family. Okay, it's not a very, he was not born in a traditional, Brahmana family or something. He was born in somewhat like, a background where Vedic wisdom was not known. He was born in such a family. But still he became Namacharya Haridas Thakur. And he had perfected the Vedas. He didn't go through the entire rigorous Vedas. He didn't learn the 4 Vedas. He didn't know the yajnas. He didn't perform all that. But he knew the ultimate purpose of all Vedas is to chant the holy names and know Krishna through that process. So he was the most perfect Vaishnava. So simple, right? And in fact, Advaita Acharya, who was one of the associates of Lord Chaitanya and who was a very good friend of Haridas Thakur, then he was performing the Shraddha ceremony of his parent. Okay, Shraddha means the final ceremonies that we perform to our ancestors. When he was performing that, you know who was the chief guest of that ceremony? It was not a Brahmin. It was Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Muslim family. Because Haridas Thakur was the greatest of all Vaishnavas. So the Vishnu Prasadam that they offer to a Brahmin, what did Advaita Acharya do? He gave that Vishnu Prasadam to Haridas Thakur and he honored Haridas Thakur because he was the topmost Vaishnava. So Haridas Thakur didn't go through all this training, but still he knew the ultimate purpose. Another story, okay, to understand this verse better. Once there was a very nice bird, mother bird, and she had many little chicks. She had many baby birds, and they were all sitting in a nest. And she was in a forest, so she was telling her little birds, "My dear babies, I will teach you a mantra. I will teach you this mantra. You should always keep chanting this mantra, and you should remember this mantra all your life." So, what is the mantra that the mother taught? The mother bird told her baby birds, that baby birds, you should always chant this. You should say that a hunter will come, he will spread his net, he will throw some grains, but you should not fall into the net and eat those grains. Otherwise, the hunter will catch you and go away. So this is the mantra that the baby birds were taught. Okay? So the baby birds, they started memorizing this mantra and they began to sing the song again and again. They said, a hunter will come, he will spread his net, he will throw some grains, but we should not get attracted to that. We should not fall into the net for the sake of the grains. So they kept chanting that again and again and again and again. One fine day, the hunter came, a hunter came, he spread the net, he threw some grains, and what did the birds do? They were chanting the same mantra, they went down into the net and they thought we have some grains and they started eating the grains. They were caught in the net and even while in the net, they continued to chant the same mantra. A hunter will come, he will spread his net, he will throw some grains, but we should not fall into the net and we should not eat those grains. So they kept chanting the same thing again and again, even while they were caught inside the net. So you see that the birds didn't understand the meaning or the purpose behind why their mother taught them this mantra or taught them this song. They didn't understand. They were just chanting mindlessly. They were just doing the ritual without understanding the meaning or the purpose behind why they had to do it. So we learn from this story that it is not enough if we just do a process mechanically. It's very important for us. Anything we do, we must understand the purpose behind it. Why are we doing this? That is very, very important. This inquiry in whatever we do is very, very important. What is the ultimate purpose? What is the ultimate purpose of doing all this ritual? That just mechanically doing something will not take us a long way. So therefore, Krishna says that, in this verse, he says, similarly, the purposes of the Vedas can be served to the one who knows the purpose behind them. So it is very important for us to know the purpose behind whatever we do. There's no use of doing anything in a mechanical sense. Now, I want one by one, all of you to read the translation. Okay, so first, we'll take turns. First read the translation, then we'll do the verse. Okay. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, go ahead.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Very nice. So what do you understand from this?
That you can only know the Vedas, that you can be served, that the Vedas the purpose of the Vedas can be served if you know like the purpose like of the Vedas, like why is the Vedas there? That makes sense.
Correct. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very good. Yeah. Good job. Anyone else? Okay, Ashutosh, you can go. Then Krishna Chaitanya, then Sai Vedas, one by one.
All purposes served by a small can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Very good. Krishna Chaitanya.
Yeah, all purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Very nice. Sai Vedas. Is that 91680 Sai Vedas, right? Or is it someone else? 91680284661.
I think that's either me or Varun.
You're Varun. Oh, somehow I thought it was a different.
No, I think that's either Varun or me.
Okay. Who? Either Varun or who?
Aditya.
Oh, either Varun or Aditya. Okay. One by one. Varun and Aditya. Both of you can say the verse. Oh, one is on phone, the other is on video. Okay, I get it. Yes, you can say the verse.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. That was Varun. Okay. Aditya?
Yeah. The purpose served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Very good. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
So if we have covered everyone, I hope I've not missed anyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Krishna.
Yes, Krishna.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Very good. We can take the verse recital now, one by one.
Chaitanya.
Yes.
Yavanartha udapane sarvata sampludodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata.
Very good.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I try?
Yes.
Yavan artha udapane sarvata sampudodake tavan sarveshu vadeshu brahmanasya vijatana.
Very good.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I try?
Yes.
Yavan artha udapane sarvata sampudodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata.
Very good.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can I try?
Okay.
Yavanartha udapane sarvata sampudodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata.
Very good.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I try?
Yes, Krishna.
Yavanartha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanyata.
Very good. Very nice. So we finished everyone, right? And
Can I try?
yes, Ashutosh is there. Go ahead.
Yavan artha udapane sarvata samplutudke tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata.
Very good. Very nice.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I got locked off. Can I go?
Yeah, you can try the verse. Yavanartha udapane.
Yavanarthodapane sarvata sampradodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha.
Very good. Very good. And Vrinda? Okay. Okay. So we can meet in our next session and we'll go ahead with the next verse, important verse of Bhagavad Gita. So thank you all so much for joining and we'll end the call. Okay?
Yeah, your friends ki jai, Preethi Vilasini Mataji ki jai.
Thank you. Thank you, Vrinda. Thank you so much for participating. Thanks to everyone who joined. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So no questions, right? Anyone wants to add anything or any questions? Okay. Then we can end the call if no one has any questions or comments. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This session is no longer being recorded.